What's going on, guys? It's Chris Toro. So I haven't been seeing a lot of videos or any videos about No More Heroes Travis Strikes Again. Suda51 said that the newest No More Heroes would be the third sequel to the series, but also more like a spin-off, featuring some cameos from indie titles, like the confirmed Hotline Miami. In an interview with Suda51, he asked the audience what type of indie titles they would like to see appear in No More Heroes 3. I've been thinking about this subject for quite some time, and it all matters what theme of indie titles mixes well with the No More Heroes theme. There are some indie titles that were influenced by the No More Heroes franchise, so if the list wasn't started already, let's begin a count of the indie titles we would love to see featured in No More Heroes Travis Strikes Again. And of course, if you want an idea of how these indie titles are going to be cameoed in the game, the plot of Travis Strikes Again begins with the father of Bad Girl from No More Heroes 1 coming to take revenge for his daughter's death, when in the midst of a battle between Travis and Bad Dad, whatever he wants to be called, some kind of new technology and game console, the Phantom Death Drive Mark II, that Travis has in his trailer comes to life, absorbs both Travis and Bad Girl's father. So pretty much these two characters are going to be inside of the game, most likely with some kind of co-op elements, and Travis Touchdown is a character that wields a lightsaber in both No More Heroes and No More Heroes 2 Desperate Struggle, and Bad Girl's father is wielding a baseball bat, and by the title you can see that there's some kind of baseball aspect to it, as well as a Star Wars reference, since it's called Travis Strikes Again, so you could be sure to see that both characters are going to share the same styles, of course with their own little personality spin on them. Now, I have an indie list of my own that I would love to see featured in this game, and all of these indie titles are well known, but not only that, they support the identity of No More Heroes the most, because even though I want to see Travis doing a bunch of crazy stuff, like he's done in Desperate Struggle with his Gundam-type robot coming out of nowhere, there are a lot of indie titles I have on this list that would best fit Travis and Bad Girl's father's styles. So the first on the list is Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is one of the most well-known co-op indie hack-and-slash titles out there, but it doesn't all boil down to the hack-and-slash aspect of the game. In it, there are numerous ways to get upgrades and to actually dig for items. Also, the style of it is pixelated. It's the kind of style I think Suda51 would go for, especially since the good old days of No More Heroes 1, when you pull up the map and everything is pixelated. If you would just replace the Knight sprite with Travis, I'm sure everybody would just confuse it with one of those side jobs from No More Heroes, opposed to a full-fledged indie title. It's one of those unique hack-and-slash titles that I'm pretty sure everybody loves, so of course it would be first on the list. The next indie titles in this list are going to get a bit unorthodox, but I think these changes are weird enough to be featured in No More Heroes. When it comes to boss battles in No More Heroes, every single fight almost changes the gameplay completely. And if there's one indie title with a crazy amount of unique boss battles, it's The Binding of Isaac. And there is a shooter aspect to it, but they can easily replace that shooting aspect with Travis's Bloodberry, Beam Katana. As well as the unique boss battles in Binding of Isaac, the way the story's portrayed sort of has this comical draw my life theme to it that I wouldn't exactly love to see in all of No More Heroes, but if that kind of storytelling draw my life would be featured in No More Heroes, because let's be honest, Travis Touchdown is like the Deadpool of video games, it would be more than amazing to see him kind of tell his own tale through Binding of Isaac's story style. But most of all, the bosses. If Suda51 and the developers of Binding of Isaac collaborate even for 2 seconds, you know they're going to come up with some kind of crazy boss battle ideas. So moving on, since No More Heroes 3 is going to have some kind of co-op elements to it, and even though Shovel Knight and Binding of Isaac all have co-op gameplay, something a bit more extreme and co-op focused, like Broforce, would be great to see. Seeing how much Bad Girl's father hates Travis, it would be actually funny if they were forced to work side by side like you do in Broforce. And also because it would be impossible to see Cuphead, and to see Travis Touchdown decimate tons of enemies like you know he can. That's why to me Broforce would be more of a fitting feature to the co-op side of Travis Strikes Again, because both of those characters seem pretty overpowered, and Broforce is all about Stallone and Arnold type characters working together. As far as the gameplay goes, those indie titles cover it. I think if this sequel focuses on too many indie titles, there might be a pacing issue, so those are the only indie titles that I want to affect the gameplay directly. But as for the upgrade system, if we could get something as awesome looking and random and numerous as the Terraria upgrade system, that would be a fine inclusion in my opinion. They don't have to have a night theme or anything like like that. There could just be random upgrades that fit the theme of Travis and Bad Girl's father. Shoot, there can even be an upgrade of that Gundam-like robot that Travis had in Desperate Struggle. The upgrades can go all the way to that absurd level. That's why Terraria just seems like it fits that criteria more. Or they could just make a jab to it. Either way, the aesthetics of Terraria would be a welcome addition to an already absurd series. As for the mystery and the dark elements of No More Heroes that we've seen before, like with Sylvia and Travis's sister, a storyline like Binding of Isaac would add a lot of darkness to that universe. I'm not sure if this indie title would be possible, but if there was a storytelling style like Doki Doki Literature Club featured in some way that has to do with a deeper part of No More Heroes' story, or a storytelling style like Oxenfree, where everything is so obscured and mixed up with hints of comedy, or even something with an absurd amount of horror like Corpse Party, that could still count as an indie title. But as for the fourth wall breaking elements that No More Heroes usually has, Doki Doki Literature Club would be a fine fit. Anything along those lines of storytelling would do for me, including No More Heroes' traditional style. Besides those indie titles, it would be great in a Deadpool fashion if Travis can talk about some of the controversies like EA and WWE 2K18 on the Switch. If at some point No More Heroes can start going at 2 frames per second when Travis starts a wrestling move, or if he's in a ring with somebody, that wouldn't only harken back to the old No More Heroes days when you're collecting the wrestling moves, but it would be a great jab and a kind of warning call to any Switch port that decides to do the same thing that WWE 2K18 did. And since Travis Touchdown is not exactly a gentleman, if there were some Senran Kagura references in there, like with the motion controls or something with Sylvia, that would be a perfect fit as well. So yeah guys, I'm done with this list. Let me know what you guys think, which indie titles would be perfect for No More Heroes Travis Strikes Again, and let me know how I did. See you guys in the next video. Later.
Whoever they are, I'll make sure they get a nice close-up of my beam katana.
All you feel is ecstasy when you kill. It's like you're getting off. Seriously, you need help.
Everybody deals with grief differently, right? Some people f***ing funerals. I cut off heads.